Right now we're looking at the PA Today screen in the PracticeAdmin Billing Manager. The PA Today screen is basically your billing dashboard of all your outstanding claims, and they're going to show up in different buckets. We call all these different statuses buckets. And as long as there's a balance on the claim is going to appear here in this Today screen. And depending on what the status of the claim is within the software, depends on the bucket that it's going to fall into. So all these different buckets are just different claim statuses that your claim can fall into. And this is just so that nothing's hiding in the background. You don't have to run reports to retrieve this information. As you log in every day, you're able to see where all your claims are at. And I can even double click on these buckets to open them up. So I double clicked on this awaiting EDI submission bucket, and here are all my claims awaiting EDI submission. You even have an EDI rejections bucket. These are all your claims that have rejected EDI from the payers, and you're able to work them directly out of your bucket and resolve them, resubmit them, and it also feeds into the patient's ledger history. So not only are you seeing these EDI rejections in your Today screen and all these different statuses, but it's also loaded into your patient's ledger histories. So you're able to keep a paper trail of what's going on in each patient's accounts. You also have a pending statement bucket. These are your patients that are due for statements, and you have a choice of either manually printing and mailing these statements yourself, or you can have your account set up to be automated with your statements. You can have them automatically printed and mailed. It's a service that we offer. But either way, if you're mailing in your own statements or you're having them printed and mailed for you, either way, once a statement's printed and mailed, it then drops into the billed to patient bucket because now the status has changed. It's no longer pending a statement. It's been billed to the patient. And then that statement or that patient will stay in that billed to patient bucket until it's either paid off in full, adjusted off in full, or until they're due for their next statement. And it'll go right back into the pending statement bucket to let you know they're due for their next statement. And the cycle will repeat itself. Either you're going to print it again or the system will automatically print it and mail it again for you. So the system's moving your claims around in the appropriate buckets for you. You're not manually doing it yourself. And you even have an EHR import bucket up here. This is your importing of any claims that have come over from an interface that we've built with your EHR. So if you're using EHR that has charge capture, we can definitely interface with them, and those claims will import over into this bucket. So instead of you manually entering your claims, they're going to import for you to review. And I can, again, double click on the bucket to open it up, and then I can double click on all these patients one by one to take a look at the claims and release them out into my awaiting EDI submission bucket because my EHR import bucket is a hold bucket. None of these claims are going to go out and queue to the insurance company until I take a look at them and release them into my awaiting EDI submission bucket. And then every night after midnight Eastern Time, the system will transmit my claims that are sitting in this EDI bucket for me, so you don't need to transmit your own claims EDI. We even have a denied bucket. So as you're posting payments or as ERAs are uploaded into our system and there are denied lines in there, those claims will automatically populate in this denied bucket for you to come back later and work through your denials. So no more writing down account numbers, saving paper EOBs or printing them. Post your denials and all your denials will show up electronically in your bucket, and as you work them, you can remove them from that denied bucket. And at the bottom of the screen, this is what we call the AR summary. This is just a snapshot view of your AR. Every day as you log in, you can see where your AR stands. And then there are reports you can run in our reporting module, which we can go into a little bit later, and you can drill down these numbers. You can also control user levels. So if you have certain users who you do not want to see these two tables, you can set up their user level when they log in. These two tables are blank. And then over here to the right, we have what we call Advanced Claim Management. And this is a filter tool for your buckets. And you can even use this as a mini reporting feature. I mean, we have a reporting module that you want to use to run all your financial reports, but this is just to grab quick information. So I'll show a couple examples on how I would use this tool. So let's say I wanted to filter out a bucket. So let's double click on this bucket, this Medicare crossover bucket. These are all the claims that have crossed over from Medicare to the secondary. Maybe I want to review a certain CPT code in this bucket. Maybe I only want to review my 99213s. So I'm going to apply filters and filter out that bucket. So you can see out of the 284 claims that are in this bucket, only 35 of them have a 99213. I can print this list. I can export it to Excel. I can even do a bulk rebill. So if you ever need to do a mass rebill of claims, if you can get all those claims to populate in this table over here to the right, just hit that bulk rebill button, it'll rebill all those claims. So that's how I would use this tool to filter out a bucket, and I can choose multiple filter options. Or let's say I don't care what the bucket is. I want to just grab quick information. I can come up here where it says bucket. I'm going to say all statuses, so that's all buckets. And then status, I'm going to say anything with an outstanding balance. And let's keep this 99213, apply filter. So what I'm doing is I'm telling the system I want to look at all claims that have an outstanding balance with a 99213 in the system. I don't care what the status of the claim is, as long as the balance is outstanding. And I have 344 of them in the system. And again, I can print this list, I can export it to Excel, I can bulk rebill, and you can double click on these patients' names, and by double clicking on them, we'll actually open up the patient's claim in their account, and I can review it, rebill, make transactions. So that's just a couple examples of how I would use that advanced claim management tool. And that was just a brief high overview of the PA Today screen in PracticeAdmin's Billing Manager.